so hard on that outdoor sanctuary and the blazing heat.
Yep.
Was it 2 years from?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy. All right. Let's see. We are live.
Hi, Miriam. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, can you say hi for me? Hello.
Hello.
Tell him it's Ian. I'm driving.
Oh, hey, Sarah Phillips is there. That's so fun. Hey, Miriam.
Say hi. Hello. Say this is Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Hello. We're driving to hockey practice.
Oh, nice. Don't lose any teeth.
I'll try not to.
Okay, great. Great.
On the Zoom.
Hello. Who else we got coming in here? Roger.
Hi, all.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, Roger.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Roger.
Hey, guys. Hi, Mitty.
Okay. Let's see if we have anybody watching on Facebook yet. Todd Goldman is here. Hey, Todd Goldman. And Debbie Leisure. 7 people watching on Facebook. Okay. Oh, down to 6. It's going to keep going.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Seth.
Hello, Seth. Nice to see you.
Same.
All right.
We have an idea of how many people we expect tonight.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think we didn't do any RSVPs for this. I didn't get a sense that there was overwhelming desire to, we'll see. Whoever shows up, and everyone else can just read about it later.
Hi, Marcy. Hi, Brian. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody. It's Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Thanks for having us.
Great. All right. I'm going to put the link for the website on Facebook. I'm going to mute myself here while I do some tech stuff. Hi, everybody out there in Facebook land, too.
It should be connecting.
Okay.
Hello?
Hey, everyone who's coming in. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. So many Jews. So little time.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Hi.
Hi, Amy.
I have the sound off on the computer.
I feel like we need to have theme music for this town hall.
You
Some
need
kind of.
You need Zoom elevator music.
That's right. That's right. Hey, I didn't see Anne's here. Hey, Anne.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Robin. Hi, Steve.
Hello, guys.
Hi.
I'm hearing from the computer.
Okay. I'm going to mute here. Arthur, still no facial hair, I see.
Yep.
Well played.
Okay, no facial hair.
Yeah, it's good. Good. Hey, Jonathan, nice to see you down there. Hello.
Well, I think we have, it's 7 o'clock, and we have, I think, a good crowd to get started. Michael and Mindy, I'll hand it over to you to kick off our evening.
Thanks, Bobby. So on behalf of Michael and myself, we want to welcome you tonight to this presentation of the findings of the task force. We certainly have had all of our lives upended from COVID-19 in ways that we could not have possibly imagined. And so we go into the fall in ways that none of us expected. But what we've done is taken some time to look for transformative moments of engagement and connection within our congregation, and use the guidance of this really wonderful task force chaired by Amy Klaben and Dr. Roger Friedman to guide us on how we can safely move forward this fall. So that said, before we get started, I would just like to turn it over to Rabbi Barlev Rabbi Benji for a short Devar Torah, please.
Thank you, Mindy. I thought I was going to get last name recognition for a moment. I thought I was really going up in the world, but that's fair.
Sorry.
No,
the Barlev part made you seem much older than you are, so I went back to Rabbi Benji.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So hi, everyone. I've just got a very brief Devar Torah, a very brief word of Torah as we start our meeting tonight. I just wanted to tell you, in case you don't know, this week's Torah portion is called Shoftim, which means judges. And the Torah portion sets up kind of the judicial framework for the Israelites once they establish themselves back in the land of Israel. So astute readers of this Torah portion may remember that at the very beginning of the book of Deuteronomy, about 20 chapters earlier, there was another simpler legal system that was outlined for the Israelites. So we may ask, what's the deal with two systems? As they always say, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. But in this case, it's actually something different. The Torah is reminding us of the importance of looking forward to better times. The original, simpler system of justice was meant to be enacted during the Israelites' time in the wilderness. Remember that they were in a 40-year transition period between their time in Egypt and the time that they made it to the land of Israel. But here Moses prepares the Israelites for a future that might still feel a little distant. As he does that, he reminds them that they will not always be in the wilderness, that there will be an end to the sojourn. They will establish a new life in their holy land. There is a light at the end of that tunnel, and in that new land, they'll need a more robust judicial system, and that's what we are presented with this week. Moses' advice to the Israelites certainly can apply to us today. God willing, we will not be dealing with COVID-19 for 40 years. Hopefully, it'll be just a little while longer. So while it's important for us, we're hoping not 40 years.
Today's
Oh, okay. I thought somebody had something to add. So while it's important for us to make plans for how to be safe during this time, we also have to keep at the forefront of our minds the fact that this virus will be under control one day. We'll be back in the sanctuary again. We'll embrace our friends once more. Our community will feel whole again. But for now, just like the Israelites did, we have been blessed to have wonderful leaders to meet the current moment. Our COVID-19 task force and the subcommittees have been diligent and thoughtful and just so great at keeping our community safe. And we are so grateful for all their hard work. But let us not forget, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and we will get there together. So I'm going to turn it back over to whomever is next.
Thank you. Mike, do you want to take it from here?
Yes, thank you. So during this time, we've repeatedly been asking, how do we respond in this moment? What's the best strategy for reemerging when life allows? What information should guide our decisions about when and how we should gather? And what does our tradition tell us we should do in these circumstances? Well, the Talmud teaches us that we should not live in a town without doctors, and now we know why. So the TBS task force, on which several doctors have served, has worked since June to make informed decisions on how to respond to the pandemic. COVID-19, as we know, has upended much of our lives in many ways, both damaging and disappointing. But has also provided the opportunity to look for transformative moments of engagement and connection. Since March, for example, we've had several drive-in Shabbats and over 300 virtual services and programs. And the task force has guided us on how we can safely have those transformative moments going forward. And we are grateful for their dedication and counsel. In doing so, the task force was guided by 3 overarching principles: Pekuach Nefesh, saving a life, using the best medical science available at the time, and the sincere desire to maintain TBS as joyful, personable, and accessible. So Amy Klaben, the co-chair of the task force, will discuss the process that the task force underwent, and then Roger Friedman will discuss some of the medical science underlying the recommendations. Amy?
Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you to the board for allowing Roger and I to be able to be part of this task force and lead it and do the important work of designing a path forward for the congregation. Mike just told you about the 3 overarching principles that guided us. I'm going to share the inclusive and comprehensive process that we followed. The task force itself had 15 members and held 4 meetings, and they were actually very long meetings. There were 5 subcommittees. You'll hear more about this in a little bit. The high holidays, Shabbat and life cycle events, religious school, programming, and operations. Each subcommittee had at least 1 doctor and 1 mental health professional. There were also a number of lawyers involved. A total of 24 people participated, and the subcommittees met 3 to 4 times each. It was quite an in-depth process. The committees and the task force itself reviewed and debated recommendations, drafted and reviewed revised policies, procedures, and protocols. The doctors answered questions about the science. The group reviewed URJ resources such as reopening and singing guidelines. And the group kept up with changing mandates, guidelines, and recommendations from the state, the CDC, and reviewed news reports. And as you know, this has been changing over the past few months, and we needed to keep up with all of the changes. Roger and I would like to recognize and thank the leadership of Mindy, Michael, Rabbi Benji, Rabbi Lynette, and Bobby during this thorough and extensive process. We also thank everyone who participated on a subcommittee and the task force itself. The task force is proud of the work we accomplished and the reports that were delivered to the board for its consideration. Thank you for providing us the opportunity to serve Temple Beth Shalom. Roger?
Thanks, Amy. From a medical standpoint, and again, that was our part of the task, was to make sure that things are going to be safe, and make sure that things are going to be safe, in particular, obviously for our congregants, in particular also for our clergy and for our staff. And I think we worked really hard to make sure that all aspects of that were going to be covered. And it was often a changing landscape, as Amy suggested. And when we started this, we probably had more high hopes that things were going to be a little bit better as far as in the community and where they are in the country. And but we anticipated they might not be. And I think we came up with decisions based on that potential, and that's where we are. We were lucky to have really 7 physicians who worked on this. The 4 on our committee, and then 3 in the subcommittees, and they all, again, I think we came to a really good consensus, making sure that whatever decision we made, if there was any question, we would always go with what was safest and best for the people who were going to be involved. We wanted to make everyone safe. We wanted to make a safe environment, and realizing that things can change, and if things get better, we're going to try to make it even more inclusive, where people can be together. And when things are not safe, to make sure that we have more remote discussions, whether it's learning or Shabbats or high holy days. And again, I think it was a work of great honor for all of us to try to come up with this document and make sure that it works for everybody. And again, I want to consider it to be, I'm not a Talmudic scholar in any way, but the document is also a living, breathing organism that will change, and it will change as the things on the ground change. That we'll be able to change either to make things easier or more difficult, or make it better for everybody. And we're obviously happy to talk with anyone about any of our discussions and decisions. But they were all of them, thanks to, again, people like Jen Silver and Aaron Freeberg and Steve Allen and Jonathan. I mean, everyone came to good conclusions about where we were going and what was the safest thing to do. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, Roger. And Amy, thank you both. And we really appreciate your leadership and guidance through this whole process. So thank you both very much. And now we want to, Michael and I will give just a brief overview summary of the task force's the ultimate task force recommendations, but the subcommittee's findings. And so I'm going to tackle religious school and Shabbat and life cycle. And then Michael will talk about high holidays, temple operations and programming. And what I would say is that if you have questions, you can enter them into the chat room and we will answer them as we go along. And it will pause in between each section to see if anybody in fact has any other questions to give you time. The religious school under the guidance of Rabbi Lynette and the religious school committee, which is chaired by Amber Block, is going to offer creative virtual religious school experiences starting, I think it's in the middle of September. And it will be virtual through at least the first early part of November. I should say at the outset, the task force goal is to come back together towards the end of October, around the 25th or the 28th, and reassess and see where we are, so that everything we do now is good through at least November 1st, 2020. The religious school will start on September 13th. It will be virtual. We had a very successful virtual religious school program in the spring when we needed to flip on a dime. And so the rabbi will be working again with the teachers to kind of refine and move forward with the planning and the education process that we've done. And then she will also organize outdoor and some socially distant and appropriate family activities throughout the fall. So that's really where the religious school goes. The next part, does anyone have any questions? And if you do, could you please post them on the chat? No, I didn't see any.
No questions.
No questions. Okay. All right, I'm going to move into Shabbat and life cycle. So the real challenge, and this is just such a challenge, I think, for any religious organization, is that all of the things that make being Jewish so special, all of the communal activities, all of the rituals, all of the kissing each other, Shabbat Shalom, all of that stuff that really makes coming together as a community so special, is on hold for the time being, and it's all virtual. And so what we've tried to do is figure out ways to create virtual experiences that are meaningful. And I think the drive-in Shabbats are a great example of that. I think the thing that's important to know is that everybody for every, where are we here? Oh, for the Shabbat and life cycle, the most important thing is that we are giving people options to have in-person life cycle events such as B'nai Mitzvahs, but we have put together very strict guidelines. Most importantly, we have a very strict attendance limit of 20 people and mandatory mask wearing. There are a series of forms that people have to fill out to certify that, in fact, they haven't been exposed to the virus. There is also no food permitted in the synagogue at all, and the social hall and the kitchen are closed. I would say for B'nai Mitzvah families, we've developed a list, as you can see, of 4 options for them. Our most preferred is to have a virtual service. We are, I will say, one of the few Yeah, we are one of the few synagogues in town, and frankly, anywhere, that's found a way to offer what we are most comfortable with in terms of an in-person opportunity. And that is either to have a small service, again, a limit of 20 people on the patio, weather permitting, or a small in-person service held in the sanctuary. Or the family has the option to reschedule the B'nai Mitzvah. We have had 2 very successful B'nai Mitzvah up until now, I think 3 actually, and one was a Zoom mitzvah and it worked really well. The family was in Cape Cod, and the other 2 were were at the synagogue, and they worked out really well. So there is precedence here, and we can do this and create meaningful experiences for everyone. And the rabbis will work with each family individually for each event, whether it's a B'nai Mitzvah or a funeral or a wedding, to work out a service that gives meaning to the experience. And does anyone have any questions? Okay. If not, Michael, you want to take it away with High Holidays?
Thank you, Mindy. We know you're wondering how we will come together for Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. Here too, the pandemic dictates that our experiences will be different for 5781. The rabbis have been working on transformative and unique High Holy Day experiences. Certainly 5781 will be a year that none of us will forget. High Holy Days will primarily be virtual. There will be a drive-in Shir Shirim music service and a drive-in Iskor service. And Rabbi Benji, is there anything else you'd like to add about the High Holy Days?
No, we're trying to put something together that's going to be meaningful to folks and safe as well. We're going to have neighborhood shofar soundings, so we'll get a little schedule together of when we're going to be in various neighborhoods blowing the shofar the day before Rosh Hashanah. That's going to be Erev Rosh Hashanah, and a couple of other fun, creative things, as well as you mentioned, the drive-in services. So a lot of it will be online. Some of it will be live. Some of it will be pre-recorded, so we can have good music and have high-quality music, I should say. And it should be great. It'll be, as you say, memorable for sure.
Thank you, Rabbi. With respect to temple programming, there's no programming in the building until at least November 1st. Again, the task force is going to come back together and reassess these policies and procedures we've instituted in late October, and decide going forward from there whether or not we need to modify them and become more strict or less strict. We've developed policies to enable congregants to have small outside gatherings on temple property. Among other requirements to do so, the gatherings are limited to 20 people. Masks are mandatory and must be at least 6 to 10 feet physical distancing among the people there. Are there any questions about temple programming?
Mike, I want to return to High Holidays for a moment. Miriam has a question. Will there be opportunities for congregant participation in High Holiday services?
Oh, I think I should probably answer it, or Rabbi Lynette or I could answer. And the answer is yes. We're going to actually, you'll see in your email in the e-window, not next week, but the week after, you'll see a similar type of Google Doc sign up that we've had in the past. And we're doing almost all the same honors, having people light the candles, having people read from the Torah, having people do English readings. The only ones that we can't do are the physical ones where folks are holding on to the Torah scrolls. But for some of the services, you'll be able to see on the document that you can pre-record your section and you'll send it into us, and then we'll add it in there. Or if it's a live service, we'll make sure to have you on Zoom along with those of us who are leading the service to enact the candle lighting or whatever it is that you're doing.
Thank you, Rabbi. Finally, with respect to temple's operations, the task force has instituted COVID protection procedures for TBS staff and visitors to the temple. For example, this requires wearing a mask when you're in the building, unless you're in your own closed office, and monitoring for COVID-related symptoms. Access to the building itself and then access to different areas within the building are limited. And again, the social hall is closed through at least November 1st. So do you have any questions about general temple operations?
Don't see any.
So, Mindy,
So I'm-
anything?
Yeah, no, so I would say, I mean, we're really proud of the work that we've done here. We do really want the congregation to know that as both our co-chair said, this was a very thoughtful process. This took lots of discussion. There was nothing that was decided by fiat. It was really, it was a process that was filled with a lot of integrity. And we think and we appreciate that the board passed it, but we believe that we are offering options to our congregants that will keep us safe and also enable us to move forward and can function in a world that's upside down. So we appreciate that. There was one other question from Miriam before we close out, and that was, will there be opportunities for congregant participation? No. Are we no longer leasing spaces to other organizations? No, we are not leasing any space to other organizations at this time because no one is permitted inside the social hall, and no one is permitted to use the kitchen. So if the congregants can't use it, certainly another outside organization can't use it either. Thank you for that. Any other questions?
But again, we will come, that'll be something we will also consider when the task force reconvenes in late October. You know, if the procedures and, you know, the pandemic allows us to meet physically in the building, then we could again look at whether or not we're going to allow other groups unaffiliated with the temple to lease our space.
Well, if there's nothing else, then we want to thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you virtually over high holidays. Please watch your emails for more information about religious school and high holiday celebration, including neighborhood shofar blowing, the drive-in Shir Yonim service, the tashlich that can be done individually in the back of at the stream in the back of the synagogue. So, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
And again, I want to thank the task force for their dedication, contributions, and guidance. And to tell you that on Facebook, you can view videos by Drs. Friedman, Silver, and Friedberg discussing the need to wear masks, why TBS is currently virtual, and the importance of social physical distancing. So you should check out those public service announcements.
And lastly, I would say that everyone can read all of the details about the report, the executive summary, all of this information on the Temple website. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Take care, everyone.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.